Happy New Year! But anyway, first video of the new year here. And guys, I've been having some major internet problems. And I've been slumming it at McDonald's in order to use their Wi-Fi to try to keep up with the videos. I'm way behind. I'll be a silent viewer for a while. And hopefully I'll be able to reload this tonight. My internet is staying on maybe 5 minutes and at a time. And that's it. You know, nothing else. And can't do Netflix. Haven't been able to finish anything more than a minute at a time on a video. So I'm getting way behind, and I know there's some great stuff going on. So I might try to shoot a couple videos tonight. It seems like the internet's been working pretty good. I've caught 3 or 4 videos. So I figured it's time to get the stuff that I've been picking up off and on over the last month or so. And as per usual, these are quarter comics. Comics that were on sale. I went to Princeton, Abingdon, and a mall that we have here had a bunch of tables set up with guys with comic books. And those, I would say those were, you know, again, I had to guess some of these books were less than 35 cents because I bought a bulk of comics and he gave me a deal. So, just getting to it because there's a bunch. Marvel Tales, Spider-Man, and Iceman, McFarlane covers, reprints, Amazing Spider-Man number 92. Great Gil Kane art with John Romita inking over him. I'm sort of a Gil Kane Spider-Man guy. Ultra Force. This is a George Perez drawn series there for a while through Malibu Comics. After Image left Malibu, Image Comics started at Malibu. All of a sudden, instead of artists, they brought in writers who made the Ultraverse. And Perez, after spending the 70s at Marvel and the 80s at DC, and went back to Marvel and played around his own, creator-owned books, Sex and Violins. He turned around and he was able to do some Ultraverse stuff, which I'll probably do a video on because there's some really great stuff he did. This is number 3. Okay. Starbrand 19 of 19. It's a little joke. 19 in a 19 issue limited series. I already have this, but this is in better shape than I have. The one I have actually has a mouse bite out, you know, a mouse nibbled on the corner of it. John Byrne took over this book with issue 11, I believe, and went bi-monthly. Had the great Tom Palmer inking him. And this really turned into a pretty decent series. It was sci-fi, but it was about the Starbrand. And I recommend you picking up Byrne's issues and reading them all the way through. And then you'll see you'll need to get the first 8 before Byrne took over because it all goes together. Dark Dominion. Now, just for you newer viewers, this was the new universe by Marvel, Jim Shooter's brainchild, of creating a comic book series that takes place in the real world and real-time passes. And, you know, 30 days to us would be 30 days to them. Well, you know, it flopped. They tried to save it. Jim Shooter, it led to him getting fired, amongst other things. So he goes in and he creates Valiant. Valiant Comics was huge in the 90s. It was awesome. It was great. And then it was stolen out from underneath him in a big corporate siege. So he takes off and he creates Defiant Comics. Defiant Comics was really on its way to being something good. And they had a series called Warriors of Plasm. So Marvel decides they're going to try to knock out some competition. They end up buying up Malibu, destroying that whole universe. And they create a comic called Plasma to go up against Warriors of Plasm. That is owned by Defiant. Defiant wins in court against Marvel after Marvel sues them for copyright infringements and whatnot. But it took up all of Defiant Comics' money reserves to fight that legal battle. They won. Company went out of business right in the middle, right before they're getting ready to have their big, huge crossover. So, Dark Dominion number 10, maybe a double, but this is the last issue as far as I know. Alright, also David Lapham's Stray Bullets, an awesome indie book that he did through his little self-publishing El Capitan. I had the first 11 of these, so I'm picking up how far he went. Great story, set in real life, sets in the 70s, got some great characters, not superhero stuff, so we'll just leave it at that. Forgotten Realms, this is a book I've had the first 11 since they came out. I think this book started in 89, 90. And DC got commissioned by TSR to do a couple books, 2-3 books: Spelljammer, Dungeons and actual Dungeons and Dragons book, and Forgotten Realms, and I'm sure there was something else. But this is the one I picked up because Jeff Grubb actually worked at TSR working on the modules and stuff of the Dungeons & Dragons. So I figured if somebody's going to know how to write these books, what they're looking for, this was it. So Rags Morales of Identity Crisis fame was working on this book. We got number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 21. I have no idea how many there were. Heroes Against Hunger, number 1, when everybody was wanting to feed the world and save Africa and everything. DC came out with this book, Heroes Against Hunger, Neil Adams cover. Every page is done by a different writer, artist, and inker to make a complete story. Oh, Forgotten Realms, annual number 1 with a Gil Kane cover. Alright. Just to give you a rundown on some of the people, the players in this book. George Perez, Paris Collins, Dennis Cohen, Keith Giffen, Ross Andrew. My favorite, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Carmine Infantino, Marshall Rogers, Bernie Wrightston, Kurt Swan, Barry Winslow Smith, Ernie Colon, Walt Simonson, Dave Givens, Jack Kirby, Joe Kubert. And then you have people like the writers were Jim Starlin, Cary Bates, Elliot S. Megan, Roy Thomas, DeMantis, Marv Wolfman, Lynn Wynn, Steve Englehart, on and on. So you get the idea. Alright, moving on here. Tom Strong's Terrific Tales. I believe there was 12 of these. I highly recommend you go back and get it. It was an anthology series. Art Adams did the backup feature of Joni Future, which pays tribute to all those pulp sci-fi novels from the 50s and 60s. Thank Philip Jose Farmer. Great stuff. And it has Tom Strong stories, Tom Strong's family stories, and A Young Tom Strong by Alan Weiss. Great stuff. Alan Weiss? I don't know, the guy from the 70s. Zero Patrol, I actually will be doing a video on Continuity Comics done by Neil Adams, the original Image, in my opinion, to a certain extent. And I really loathe this company. But we'll get into that later. Here's Zero Patrol number 2, Neil Adams stuff. This is probably from like about 84. Zero Patrol number 1. Okay. Now, Marvel Fanfare number 1, Mike Golden cover. Frank Miller back cover of Daredevil. I never really got into Marvel Fanfare back in the day because, in my opinion, they were rejected. I always assumed they were rejected scripts and comics. Number 3. It's on the back there. It's a wraparound cover. Okay, 36. I think I got 37. It's got Hogan the Grim in it, and it's by Charles Vess. So I'm wondering if there was a little arc here where Charles Vess got to draw, solo stories of the Warriors 3. Beautiful art in this, and I've said it before. Charles Vess lives less than an hour, about an hour from here. I've met the man, a couple times since 1991. Do not ever, tell him, refer to him as a comic book artist to his face. He'll correct you. He's a fantasy illustrator. Excuse me. Alright, Teen Titans number 48. This will probably pop up in a video in the future. It has Steve Rude art in it, and there's a whole story about who the recombatants really were supposed to be. This was supposed to be a crossover, and they couldn't get the rights, so they had Steve Rude come in, and Marv Wolfman and a few other people come in, and make up the recombatants. So, great stuff. I passed that up for years, never knew that was Steve Rude. Amazing Spider-Man 500. I had the whole Straczynski run of Spider-Man, and I could never get past. It really bothered me. I could not get past the fact that they had Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn having a big affair, going to, and Gwen Stacy having the Green Goblin's babies. Come on, man. But anyway, this is great because I consider this the Dark Knight story of Spider-Man. It's set in the future, and it just feels like Batman the Dark Knight to me. And also, I didn't really get into the whole animal totems that they were coming up with. I don't know. I was right there, and then I think everything they've done is just disappeared, so it doesn't really matter. All right, now this was a surprise. I've never bought an issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, but this is the 100th issue, and it was for $25. And not only that, but when I got home, I found out this was stuck in the back. Spider-Man Saga, beginning a 4-issue pictorial history of the world's greatest non-mutant superhero. So that should be interesting to see what that is. Alright, Ghost Critic ought to appreciate this. I actually picked up some Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics because of the covers. Tribute to a famous Superman cover. You know, Twilight. But the biggest thing is that it's written by Brad Meltzer, who, you know, did Identity Crisis, and he's a novelist. And, you know, I dig his work. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 32, and it's called Twilight Part 1. So hopefully they're making fun of the Twilight series. Here's Part 2. Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 33. I believe that's a mock of a Spider-Man cover where the Hobgoblin reveals his identity. And we all know this X-Men issue they're mocking here, but this is Part 4 of Twilight. I am missing one, so. And here's what every Legion fan must have. I was so excited to find these and so very cheap. Who's Who in the Legion of Superheroes. It gives you the Interlac alphabet. It gives you the symbols of all the heroes. It gives in-depth information that, you know, you'd have to, you know, really minute information you would have to spend a long time trying to find. Number 1, number 2, number 3. This one's open, so, oh, a couple of them are open. So you get the Legion Espionage Squad and Karate Kids and Kuns and all kinds of people doing these. Keith Giffen, Colleen Doran, Kurt Swan, Dave Gibbons, all sorts of people. 3 of 7. Number 4 of 7. 5 of 7. 6 of 7. I love that cover. Just a traditional DC cover. And I don't have 7 of 7, but you know, hopefully it'll pop up. Alright. Simply got this one because I love, this is, how do you say his name? Brereton. This is from 1991, Legion 91. But Lobo versus Captain Marvel, it just cracks me up. I mean, you know, Lobo versus Captain Whitebread, the big red cheese. Alright, now these are in backwards. I hate anyone that tries to follow up Alan Moore on a story. The first Top 10 miniseries, the 12-issue maxi series, is a classic. You should pick it up. But what makes this really really great to read is that they always hide all sorts of things in the background of Top 10. This is, if you haven't read Top 10, it's basically Hill Street Blues meets Heroes. And I have the graphic novel, the hardback trade that came out that explained that pretty much all the heroes of this world are put in one city, and they're not allowed to be superheroes. They have to be citizens. So basically, these are the cops that patrol a city full of people with superpowers. So here's number 5 of 5, 3 of 5, and I'm going to tell you why I had to get it. This is the magic of Top 10. Anybody who watches my stuff know that, watching my videos know I'm a big Commandy nut. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, they have Commandy setting with Kazar, and it looks like Sheena from the 50s TV show. That is Commandy hidden in there, drawn by Jerry Ordway. And that was the magic of this book. You have to look in the backgrounds because they hide all sorts of comic book references and cartoon references in this city. Like, you know, this is the Blue Beetle, a beetle, Herbie the Beetle. You know, this is a part of town where it's all insects, and if you get in there, you'll recognize some of these things from other comics. They hide the Bug's Life bug in there, and the Wasp from the Avengers is in there. You know, but I think you get the idea. And they ambush Bug. They hid the ambush Bug in the panel. So that's kind of what they do. Alright, moving on. Got All the Secret Invasion for number 8. For $2. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8. I would love to do a review on these books, but I give it a big thumbs down, which I don't want to do a negative review, so maybe I'll do a best of, worst of video where I don't go after this emotionally, but I really point out some problems I had with this. Why it reached a point where it was unreadable. And then maybe I can end on a positive note with a series that is readable, in my opinion. Alright, number 50, Justice League of America. It came out a few months ago. I am a huge Crime Syndicate fan. I have Ethan Van Sciver on my Facebook, not because I'm friends with any of them, but because he'll post art as he does it. And I saw this wraparound cover being done in pencils and sketches and everything on his Facebook. He would post it. Now, I've never been really comfortable with this version, this volume of Justice League books. It was started by Brad Meltzer, picked up by Dwayne McDuffie. James Robinson came on board, but that issue 50 is solid. The rest of the series I could probably take or leave, but I felt like he delivered on this, and it's because the Crime Syndicate take center stage. Okay, Booster Gold 1 million. I know I bought a Booster Gold book. I can't believe it either, but this finishes the little Blue Beetle arc that Jeff Johns did. So I had an excuse. Got my Hellboy super cheap. I like to see Hellboy go up against Man-Thing. That's all I'm saying. Alright, Bride of Hell, Richard Corbin art. These are one-shots. Double feature of Hell. Double feature of Evil. Beast of Burden. This one really surprised me. This is a sweet little scary story. They brought in Jill Thompson to do the art, and it turns out all these animals talk, and they're actually guardians, or how can I say this? Junior guardians, I guess, in training of this haunted forest, or of this hill. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but it's sweet. It's kind of Hellboy with puppies and kittens. It's just it works. It was awesome. Can't wait to finish it. Creepy number 3 by Dark Horse. And I flipped through this, and it looks like Creepy of the 70s. It's kind of disturbing seeing the Nazi chick with a hot body and Hitler mustache. And the Lord knows what she did to the dog. Alright guys, I had to get these. I'm missing 3 issues because money was a factor. But I have FrankenCastle, well, Punisher number 11, the FrankenCastle art. In a previous video, I picked up this issue and was just so confused. I was like, is this really happening? Is this really in continuity? And I got informed by many people, Beck and Howlett and quite a few others, that this did happen. So I had to find out what happened. And I could not believe I found these for nothing. I wasn't even really looking for them. Here's number 13. Number 14. Number 15. Love those covers. Number 16. And number 17. And then money was a factor. I could not get 18, 19, and 20. I just did not have the money. But there was no way in the world I was going to pass this up. This is the same guy that just did the Legion 91, Lobo versus Captain Marvel. Same guy. And he does the art all the way through this. And gotta say, guys, there's my man thing. My man thing. Just saying. But the art in this is absolutely amazing. And I'm really digging it. Looks like old 60s pulp horror novels or something like that. So I'm not passing that up. And they have a character in here I absolutely love. Don't know where he came from. What's his name? Oh man. Anyway, it's Creature from the Black. It's a Creature from the Black Lagoon character. And I apologize. I'm just forgetting his name right now. But I tell you what, I got tons of ideas I would do with that guy. Alright guys, that's it. That's my pickups. I'm going to shoot a couple more videos, see if I can get them loaded up. Sorry this one went long. I'll catch you later. Happy New Year.